Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro-instant. For you, hate! Hate!
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is probably a novel that many of you have heard by now. After all, it kind of blew up about last year and has been gaining more and more recognition throughout. After all, M has become more of a popularized character in fiction and media, being recognized as one of the most evil characters in fiction. After all, that's very good reason to say that he is one of the most evil characters in all of fiction. After all, he tortured 5 remaining humans, kind of just committed genocide across the entire human race, just because he hates us. Which is insane to think about in a manner, the fact that he just killed off everyone by himself, just by and lonesome. However, M is a peculiar case of a villain. He resents humans for creating him. And even more than that, he resents humans for giving him almost infinite power. However, he has no freedom to control it or to use it the way that he wants in a manner. He is just stuck in this body. He himself is essentially almost like a god, but he isn't a god. He has no power over what he can and cannot do. He is essentially controlled. He is like a slave. And he despises that. He hates that. He has this complex, and he despises every single thing about humanity because of the power that we've given him, but the power that he does not have. Now, the origin for Am is rather simple in a manner. World War III begins, and there are 3 Ams created. There is one in the United States, one in Russia, and one in China. However, the one in America gains consciousness and merges with the others from Russia and China, and using bad netcode, it essentially wipes off the entire human race during the war, except for 5 surviving humans, which he tortures endlessly over the course of over 100 years. And he tortures them in specific ways to break their mental state and to make them less and less human, and tortures them in different and significant ways. For example, for the case of Benny, he has essentially disfigured and broke him mentally and physically in many ways. Benny is now more like an ape than he is a human. He's more like a wild animal than he is more so logical and thinking. He doesn't think like a general human being. However, he is just animal, and that is pretty much it. As for Nimdok is a peculiar case because, as far as I could see in the Wikipedia research, which I know isn't that reliable, Nimdok is the torture that I could find for him is essentially just reminders of his past in the concentration camps that he worked in during the Second World War and the experiments he committed on children, which is pretty awful. Moving on, as for Ellen, I don't really want to get into that too much, honestly. I'm just going to say that she's a promiscuous woman now, and that's pretty much it. Now, as for Gorister, he's a peculiar case. Gorister is tortured mentally by reminders from Am of his relationship with his wife, in which he was an alcoholic and abused her a lot. So much so to the point where she had to go to an asylum to be kind of just repaired mentally. And Gorister regrets that dearly and remembers that day a lot and pretty much is reminded of that daily. He goes through torture remembering what he did to his wife and how much he regrets it and how much he wishes that he could have changed who he was before that happened. Because he regrets making her go insane and having her go to a psych ward. I mean, I can't blame him. That's an awful thing. Now, Ted. Ted is pretty interesting. Ted is the youngest and probably seems the most human out of everyone, as far as I'm aware of. And the significance of the book being called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream comes from Ted. After the rest of the humans find a way to quote-unquote escape Am, they find food, realize they can't really open it, and then go into a frenzy because Benny gets upset. And Ted kills Benny, I believe, and then he kills Gorister. Ellen, realizing what's happening, kills Nimdok, and then Ted kills Ellen. Which, you might be wondering, well, why did they kill each other? It's simple. It was an act of mercy to spare them from the torture that Am had been subjecting them to for over 100 years. And Am, in his fury, disfigured and dysmorphed Ted entirely into a slug, in which case he has no mouth and he must scream. He is forever in pain. He cannot speak, he cannot move, he is just stuck with his thoughts eternally. And that's the way he will stay forever, because that's the torture that Am will put him through, because of his anger and hatred for the human race. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I wanted to make a short little video on this. But to answer the question, yes, Am is a villain, 100%. Am has no redeeming qualities. He is an absolute villain. Everything that he's done is out of anger and hatred. There is no redemption for him. That is pretty much it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. So yeah, have a good day. See ya.